Almighty and the founder president, Param Shraddheya Ma Radha Devi Ji Goenka, who is established this institution for women empowerment and to make the women independent. Honorable President Mr. Dilip Rajji Goenka sir, who is a source of inspiration for us and who is a president of Institutions Innovation Council also. Honorable Principal Dr. Charu Shilaji Rumale Madam, Honorable Vice Principal Dr. Ambadas Pandey sir, and of course Honorable Resource Person, who is the shine of this national level webinar, Dr. M.M. BETKAR sir, Principal Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya, Ausa, Latur. Dr. Sanjay Vite sir, IPSC Coordinator, Professor Ram Bahiti sir, Librarian, Professor Lalit G. Bhatti sir, IPSC Co-Coordinator, all the faculty members, research scholars and students. I, Dr. Rupa Gupta, on behalf of Institutions Innovation Council, Internal Quality Assurance Sales and Department of Library, we all are the organizer for this webinar. Welcome you in national level webinar on intellectual property rights and intellectual property management for startup. So once again, welcome you all. So as we know, intellectual property is a key aspect for economic development. Innovation and entrepreneurship is very important. It is a need of an art. So if we have a creativity, definitely we can give direction to our creativity with the help of IPR, with the help of protecting our innovative idea, with the help of very statutory amendments made by our Indian government. Bill Gates very rightly said that intellectual property right has a shelf life of a banana. So once again, welcome you all. So without getting much more time, I request Honorable Principal Dr. Charu Shilaji Rumale ma'am to guide us on this occasion. Just one minute. Hello. Sorry. Yes, madam. Please continue. Madam, can you switch on your camera? Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
परम श्रद्धेय माता जी को प्रणाम. Honorable President, respected Dilparaj ji Goenka sir, respected Dr. Betkar sir, resource persons of this webinar, all the organizers of this webinar, dear participants, good morning and welcome you all. Intellectual property right is very much requiring in current era. Now, we are facing cutthroat competitions, hence those who as innovative and creative can survive. Today, we are processing almost in every sector, and security is a big issue and also important. Our intellectual knowledge, idea, presentation is our property. If we have innovative idea, we can do patent of it. Definitely. It will create opportunity of employment. Ministry of Education's Innovation Cells has taken initiative through the platform of IIC. They are creative awareness on IPR. So, as every stakeholder of society will be benefited from it. Definitely, you all be benefited from the session of BETKAR sirs and will get fruitful insight from it. Once again, welcome you all and all the best of your bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words and blessings. So, without getting much more time, I request Professor Lalit Bhatti, sir, the co-coordinator of IQAC, to introduce today's resource person, Honorable Dr. Betkar, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. If I'm audible? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, आप सभी को मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार. I am here. That is Lalit Bhatti. I am here to introduce our respected and dear guest, Dr. M.M. Betkar sir. When I go through the introduction, the profile of Mr. Betkar sir, I am overwhelmed. I felt overwhelmed because whatever detail I read, whatever minute detail or the work of Mr. Betkar sir really serve as a, we can say, a lighthouse or a torch, we can say, in the darkness of the period when there is a kind of lethargy among academicians to do work. The long list of achievements inspire me, or rather I should say, I am privileged to introduce such a renowned personality who is going to oblige, who is going to share her valuable ideas regarding IPR and patent. So, once again, thank you, sir, for obliging us, for sharing your time and valuable ideas. Respected all delegates, principals, professors, students. I must say that before hearing, or we can say listening the ideas of such a great personality, if we get idea about the work and achievement of that person, it really creates an aura in our mind. It creates an atmosphere to be receptive to hear that thoughts. So, Mr. Betkar sir, Dr. Betkar sir, is the principal of Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya, Ausa, Latur. With this humble, we can say, introduction, first of all, I will go through the research experience of Mr. Betkar sir. Dr. Betkar sir is a research supervisor having long experience of 30 years of teaching, and 7 patents are there on his name. More than 50 research papers were published in renowned national and international journals, as well as he got gold medal for his research innovation in Inter-University Research Festival, Avishkar. He is one such renowned speaker in the field of IPR and patent. He has the special expertise on the subject, so much so that he has rendered his lecture more than 250 times on the topic of IPR and patent. He has also guided various NACS workshop on the topic. Not only on the national level, he is a speaker, but on international level also, he has the knowledge, spread the knowledge on international level also. He is the international speaker who played the role of keynote speaker at Singapore, Hong Kong, Canada, and UK. Not only that, he has also presented paper in renowned international conferences at Indonesia and Thailand. Such a voracious work, a workaholic culture, must be blessed with various types of honors. He was conferred in 2018, first of all, as a best teacher, and then he was conferred the award of best principal in 2021 by SRTM University, Nanded. Not only that, due to such a voracious kind of work, a versatile versatility must get his name into Book of Records. So he enrolled himself, recorded himself in International Book of Records, Asia Book of Records, and India Book of Records. Oh my God. I must say, what a workaholic culture he has followed, what a discipline he has followed. Thank you, sir, for such a renowned, we can say, work done by you, and we are really obliged, feel gratitude to have you as your resource person. So without further ado, please, I will request respected BETKAR sir to oblige all of us with your valuable ideas on IPR. Thank you, sir.
I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Professor Lalit Bhatia, sir, for a special type of introduction by you. सबसे पहले माता जी को प्रणाम करते हुए मैं अपने इस वेबिनार की शुरुआत करता हूं। श्रीमती राधा देवी गोयंका कॉलेज फॉर वुमेन of Akola from Akola invited me for the national level webinar on intellectual property rights, IP management and for startups, which is organized by the IIC cell, IQC cell and Department of Library. The chairman of this IIC, Honorable Dilip Raji Goenka sir, Honorable Principal Dr. Charushila Rumale Madam, Dr. Ambadas Pandey sir, who is Vice Principal, Dr. Sanjay Vite sir, IQC Coordinator, Professor Ram Baheti sir, who is Librarian, and the organizing convener of this webinar, Dr. Rupa Gupta Madam, all the faculties, research scholars, students of this college, those who are joined from this institute and out of this institute also. One of my friend, Dr. Jalveer Singh, is present here. It's a surprise for me that he is attending this webinar. First of all, I am thankful to all of you for inviting me on this platform. This is not my the first time, but also in last year also the same college have invited me for this, and I am again thank you to all of you. It's a great pleasure of me to share what I am having my knowledge on this IPR and patent filing. As the topic is intellectual property rights, IP management for startup, specially introduced by this Rupa madam and honorable principal, the basic things about this topic and the organizing aim of this college. As this is institute is introducing this startup, IP management startup and IP intellectual property rights to the students, it's a great thing. Because myself, I have introduced with the patent after the age of 40. But this college have introduced the students within early age. So they are very lucky in this point of view. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It's moving one, please notify me. Is second slide? I think
Yes, sir.
second slide, next index of presentation you are seeing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. The total next webinar will cover the point what is IPR, what are the IPR rights associated with intellectual properties, what is the basic theme of the startup, and after that we will go for the IP management for the startups. So this is the in all idea of my presentation. Let us see the first slide, in which the first picture shows what is I. I is the intellectual thinking of a mind. And this mind thinks always to create some innovative work so that it can be converted into the intellectual property. So these two slides shows that intellectual thinking of a mind, innovative thinking of a mind of a person to create an intellectual thing that is a property, physical property. When it forms by that person, then it is the intellectual property. These are the basic things we have to know before going to the IP management. What are the IPs and what are the after that IP management? What happens when we create an innovative thing? The persons from the society can stolen the knowledge. They can use that technology without the kind permission of you, means as an author or innovator. At that time, we have to register that property on our name or on our organization. When we register that property on our name, then it becomes our innovation, registered innovation. And at that time, we get the right of that innovation to utilize, to commercialize, or to exclude others from using that technology without your consent. These are known as the intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights come in force when you create something and when you register something in that, so that at that time you get the rights of intellectual properties. It's after the registration. Then we go for the groups of intellectual properties. There are two groups: intangible property and tangible property. Intellectual property, which we think intellectually, that is the idea or any music or any theme of a book, that is the intangible property, and we can make it tangible one by forming a bike or anything, that physical property. So these are the two types of groups of the intellectual properties. Now let us see what are the types of the intellectual property, those which are related to our startup or our business. First, it is the design. On screen you are seeing that three pictures. One is the design of a goggle, second is the design of a chair, and third is the design of various bottles. Why I am saying these three one? This comes under the innovating thinking of a mind, those who have created such designs. And if you want to utilize such designs for your startup, for your business, you get the design right of that. So this is the first right you get for your production when you design that right, that intellectual property on your name or on your organization. Let us see second, copyright. If your startup is forming a software or book or painting, audio CD or video CD or any software, so that software from your organization used for the startup can cover copyright. You are the owner. You are having copyright of that. Now thirdly comes the patent. Patent is the well-known word to us when we create a unique thing, innovative thing, especially which is useful for the commercialization or use of that industrialist or any organization or any factory. It must be a commercialized one or it must be preparable one. That innovative thing is a patent. Then let us define the patent. Patent is the statutory right given by the government, granted to limited period of time, not forever, and it is in exchange of full disclosure of his invention. Means if you form something and you publish it, fully disclose it innovatively, if it is innovative one, government can grant you the patent, and this patent can be used for our startups, for our business, for our industrial. So it should be capable of industrial applications. Means patent if not able to capable of the industrial application, it is useless one. So this is the IP management we are going. Before that we are studying this different types of the intellectual properties. One of it is the patent, and patent is the most important thing for using in the startup if your product is innovative one which is not available yet in the market. Now let us see the fourth intellectual property, that is trademark. For any organization, for any factory, for any startup, we have to make an identity of us for commercialization of our goods, and it is in the form of just a logo. We have to register. On the screen you are seeing that Airtel, Lokmat, Doordarshan, Parle-G, that WhatsApp, BMW, all these are the trademarks which I have shown to you. So these are the trademarks. These factories or organization or startup, they have at the beginning stage, they have created a design as per their creation, and they have registered it so that they get their trademark. For any startup or any business, we should have to create a trademark as our identity in the market, and it is the fourth intellectual property. Now let us see the fifth intellectual property, geographical indication. What are the geographical indications? These are the different various man-made or natural products which are famous in our area, and they can be commercialized. For an example, on the screen I am shown here Kanchipuram silk sari, Guntur chilli, Kolhapuri chappal, Basmati rice. So these are the products. Two of them are the man-made and two are the natural. They can be commercialized for our startup by using the idea of that product. So this is the fifth intellectual property. Now sixth is the plant variety. Means if the plant's breeder right can be given to the owner, it is when formed when a breeder of new variety of plant, including seed cutting, tissue culture, biotechnology. If you are starting your business as a startup in this area, if you form a seed by using tissue culture or biotechnology, then that can be used for your startup under the plant variety right. Now, if your business or factory is going to produce IC integrated chips, you are knowing well known that what are the integrated chips? These are the electronic components which can function uniquely they are having the unique design of that, so that they use in the unique product. So already it is unique one, functioning unique one. So if you are producing IC, then you can lay out that IPR, intellectual property, for your organization as an intellectual property right. Now, after seeing the types of the intellectual properties which can be used for our startup, for our business, for any starting of industry, we go towards the what are the rights associated with, what can we do with IPR. IPR is just a certificate. Then before going to the IP management, let us see what can we do the IPR. Intellectual property is the like the physical property. Intellectual property is just a certificate, but it acts like our physical property. The treatment which we give with our physical property, same can be treated as with the intellectual property. Let us see the first example. IPR can be assigned. Means as a physical property can be assigned for a few years, similarly IPR can be assigned. Then what is the relation of this assignment of the IPR with our webinar? As it is the property, if you don't want to start just your business on that idea, then you can assign your IPR for someone to start his or her business by assigning for a particular period, means before expiry of that certificate. So it is the IPR assignment. Secondly, IPR can be sold. As physical property can be sold, IPR can be sold. If someone not interested to produce some product on that innovation, you can send it for your financial benefit as like our physical property. Thirdly, IPR can be gifted also. As our physical property we can gift, such like IPR can be gifted. If you want to gift your innovation to someone to start his or her startup business, then you can give that IPR. So IPR is related to our commercialization in the industrial, in the academic section. So these three types of things we can done with the IPR. Now, after the basic introduction of intellectual property, why it come rights, what are the types of it, what can we do to IPR? After the basic discussion, let us we go toward the startup. The main point is startup of our webinar. What are the startups? Just younger companies, new companies, which are founded to develop a new product or service. Why new product? If there is same product you are marketing one, it might be not scope. But if you are introducing new product in the market, that will give the more important. New means innovative. Is related to IPR, and it may be product or it may be service. So IP is related to these startups. Now, startups founded by one or more entrepreneurs who want to develop product or service, means it's a simple one. Means 2 or 3 persons can start the business or they are acts as entrepreneurs. Now, IP rights can support you the startup. Means you have decided to start some business as a startup. Then which rights you support, on which patents, if you are patent, if you are using in the startup, that will support your business. If you are having copyright with you, that support your business or startup. If you are having the unique designs, they can be used for marketization, then that also design right can be support to you. And the trademark also support to you, because no one can duplicate the same product for their commercialization. So IP supports your startup like this. It gives statutory rights to you. Now, which are the IP rights for the startup? As like seen before, trade names. When we give a trade name for your business or startup, it is your right. It gives you a right to utilize you. Secondly, brand name. As like before slide, I have seen that Parley is a brand name. So that registered brand name for your startup gives you the right. Then the logos which are used associated with that gives you the right. Also, advertising the products. If you see in the market, various products are advertising as per their skill. Some are using music, some are using words, some are using any theme. So this type of presentation of your article for the marketization in the advertisement That is your right, and no one can copy that it. So it gives the right for the startup for using the advertise for your commercialization of the product. And then inventions, what inventions you have with you, that invention gives you the right to use that. And designs, what designs you are using, unique designs, registered design under the IP for your commercialization product, that gives have the right to use that for your startup. And lastly, the website which is you have published for your business, for your startup, what type of you have information included in that, what type of images you have included, what type of video audio of your product you have included, that all gives you the rights for the startup. Now then, what is the intellectual property management? You have intellectual property, you are willing to start your business as a startup, then what is the intellectual property management for that? It is the system, intellectual property management is the system that helps to manage intangible product such as creations of mind and human intellect. Means if you are having an intellectual idea in your mind, if you want to commercialize it through the product, so that product creations of mind of human intellect is managed properly so that it can be benefited to the startup. So we have to manage the intellectual property for our startup for introducing a new product, new service to the market. Now, what is the importance of intellectual property management? What is the importance of them? It provides information about the intellectual property to the general public. Means what your innovative idea is, on which you are working, which product you are introducing in the market, it is open for the public, in general public. It gives the info, it gives the right. Means we have to properly manage this. If you not advertise your product through any medium, then how it reaches to the public? And public is the means the customers are, when purchase the product, they purchase only they listen or see from some media. So it provides information. That's why it is important for management of the intellectual property. Secondly, establishment of monitor documents of IP ownership and rights. We have to establish and monitor what the documents we have for our ownership, that is our right, and it is the properly managed. Thirdly, handles patent portfolio, infringement, privacy, and the unauthorized use. Means once you have the right, register that intellectual property for your startup, you get the right of that using, that commercialization, and to avoid infringement. If someone is duplicating in the market, you can avoid it through the legal case, and unauthorized use also can be avoided. So it's important to manage our intellectual property for our business. Now, what gives it? It establishes non-disclosure policies. Those who are not disclosed, that is the policies can be, you can keep with you. It helps to stay updated with the competitors and their awards, infringement and claims. Means you should be updated with your intellectual property, and we have to study those competitors are in the market which are using the same product or which are willing to marketize their product similar to you. Thirdly, the documents and the papers, licensing related contracts, all these we have to keep for our legal cases, and it enables business to the handle post issues of the proceedings. Means someone is having legal issue with that, for post issuance of the proceeding we have to go with this document. So what the intellectual property we have with us for the startup, they should be properly maintained. Please mute.
Trishali madam, mute yourself. Trishali.
Now what is the government? Government has launched the SIPP program. What is the basic aim of that? To foster the innovation and creativity of the inventors or of the innovators. Also to promote awareness among startups. Means someone is going to start the business as a startup, then he should be know what are the intellectual properties, what the potential of the intellectual property, and that awareness should be created, and that is the aim of the SIPP. Secondly, to encourage IPR protection, means once you have IPR, we have to protect it. No one can use that technology without any permission. So for awareness of this, government have launched the SIPP program for the all startups. Now, what are the issues of startup? If someone want to start a business or factory or any startup, then let us see what are the issues and which are related to our IP management. Hiring qualified employees means we have, for the startup we have to use or we have to hire qualified employee. Secondly, develop an innovative product or the service. For the marketization of our product, it should be innovative one. It should be registered. Maybe it should be registered one. If it is not registered, you have to register it. That is innovative product. Second, rising capitals. Means for rising capitals of your startup, you have to use this IP. Means one firm is having IP rights with that, then the market investors can visit you to raise your capital and obtaining venture capital for funding. Once you have IP, intellectual property with you, you can plan some projects, some ideas, some events so that the ventures can reach you for the capital funding to you. So this startup means this issues with the startup. If we go through the intellectual property, it can help us to raise the capital, to publish our work, and to serve the market. IP status for business. Your IP is the company asset. Since, listen this word, only physical property of a startup, that is plot, factory, all machinery, is the asset, no doubt problem you. But prior to that, your IP is a company asset. Now IP is a company asset. If you have intellectual property with you, with innovative product that is having the potential to market that goods, to market that innovative product, then that becomes your asset, because you can use that asset for progress of you by using three types. One, for producing that product. Second, for assigning that product, or for selling, or for gifting. So this is the asset. It's a one important asset, that intellectual property, if we have as a certificate with it, with our business, then it is the asset now. What are the IP relevant for startup? For startup, what is the IP's relevance? It safeguards the core ideas upon which startup is built. Means if you are starting a business, you are doing a business as a startup, then your idea must be safeguarded legally. That is the first aim of the relevance of the IPR with the startup, because no one can use that technology without your kind permission. Secondly, it helps to generate and maintain competitive advantages. Means marketing someone is the same product, then we have to do competition with that by introducing innovative product in the market. Thirdly, it helps protect and promote investment in R&D in terms of time as well as the capital. Means once you have IPR with you, with your startup, and if you have a solid or a highly best R&D, which is in research one, then anyone can invest in your startup, because you have strong R&D, you are in touch with the proper knowledge of the market and the commercialization of the product. So someone can come to raise the funds to you. That is, IP helps to generate a revenue of the startup. For the startup, if you want to generate our revenue, then we have IP with us. If someone having the intellectual properties, then anyone can support as a revenue to that startup. And IP attracts potential investors in the market. So because of that IP, intellectual property with you are holding, you get the potential investors in the market. for your business, for your startup. Means for any startup, we must have our capital, we must have our innovation, we must have the firms or the public, that is the investors. You should have the potential to attract the investors from your market. If all these supports are with you, then your startup will go in ahead as compared to other those who are not aware of using IP in their management. So IP assets secure investment. It gives investment, it gives the security to our investment, because when someone want to invest in the startup or any business, he or she should try to return it from the market. Then what is the security then? Security is observed when your product is competitive one, if your product is innovative one, or your service is innovative one. At that time, it gives a security to us to return from the market your investment. So IP is having such potential to secure your investment. That is IPR for startups. Make intellectual property protection priority. Means if you are going to start a business as a startup, then what the intellectual properties you have? First of all, before marketing your goods, before marketing your product, you make sure that your intellectual property is protected legally by a proper procedure. So for startup, it is evaluate and decide the IP rights involved in the business. We have to study at first what are the drawbacks of that. If someone use that product, so that intellectual property protection, you have to make first priority to that. Now register intellectual property rights. At first, you have to register your intellectual properties. If you are having trademark, you have to register it. If you are having logo, you have to register it. You have to having advertise of your product, you have to register it. You have to patent with you, and which you are going to commercialize it in the market, you have to register it. Means every aspect of the product which is introducing in the market in the terms of startup, we have to register it as the intellectual property, so that it is used to submit this file before any court if there is infringement cases if observed in future. So it is the best beginning, so that we have to register our intellectual properties. Due carefulness of your IP rights. What IP rights we have to take care and aware of that. For any startup, it is indispensable that does not violate IP rights of any other persons also. Means you can't violate the IP rights of any other. It causes infringement and is also trouble to you also. So it's illegal to use others' idea without kind permission, legal permission of someone, so that it violates the IP rights. So no one can use your idea, or you cannot use the idea of someone for your startup without kind permission of that. Let us see. First of all, we have to implement clear and effective policies and strategies for the protection of IP rights. Before starting the startup, let us make and document which and policies and strategies how you are going to protect the rights of your firm, intellectual properties which are used in our startup. Means for the startups, we have intellectual property policy for the management of rights which may be presently owned, created and acquired in the future. Means you have presently known owner of the intellectual properties, because you have created that intellectual properties and or acquired in future also. Means if you are planning to introduce a new product for your startup, that also registered in the intellectual property. So we have to implement clear and effective policies for the strategy for the IP rights. Now agreement related to intellectual property. Means if you have your intellectual property with you for the startup, you should prepare proper document in the proper form of the agreement and keep with you. And also these agreements with the employee, these agreements with the independent contractors that can make successful or failure of the startup. Means this idea should be proper. After the proper documentation, some parts should be kept non-disclosure. and some part should be kept disclosed and some should be non-disclosed, means which is affecting our business, that is non-disclosure. But what the useful for all, that should be disclosed for all the agreement. As you are knowing that the Coca-Cola formula is yet not disclosed by that firm. So few things which are not disclosed to the public, they are useful for us, means for any startup. Few things which should be disclosed to the other parties or to our employees, to the contractors, those are investors or those are the consumers of us. Our policy of intellectual property should be disclosed, and that makes successful or failure of the startup. Why successful? If you disclose all your properties, innovativeness, intellectual property innovativeness, so public or the market believes on you, on your product, they want to do the order or they can to purchase. If you not disclose your innovativeness, if you not able to advertise them as the innovativeness, and they can failure for the startup. Means no product is in the market without knowing any information about that. No one can give a contract to that to purchase of that. Now, startups and intellectual property protection. Big companies are spreading large protect to their IPs. Since as the company is big or very large firm, they are investing more in the R&D. Also, they are more conscious for protecting their intellectual properties to avoid the illegal issues in future. But for the startup, which is having a limited capital with that, limited manpower, so they neglect the registration of that product in the intellectual property in the proper way. That is the wrong thing. So that if we have our intellectual property with us, we are starting our startup with that intellectual property, it minimize should be minimum it should be registered on your firm or on your name. So it's the security, IPR security, it should be there. Status to implement. What are the status to implement? Let us see. Keep your employmental work separate from your new idea. If you are using planning to introduce a new type of product with your new idea in the market, just you separate from your employer, because no one can stolen that idea. First of all, you have to give priority for the registration at first. Secondly, don't let people claim ownership of your IP or your company. Means if you have your intellectual property, no one can come ahead for showing the ownership of your IP. If it is not registered on your name, anyone can claim ownership of that. So let us register that intellectual things on your mind, intellectual property on your name or on your firm. Let us assign their IP to the company. Means contributors assign their IP to the company. Those who are assisting to that company, to the startup, those who have, if they made some product which is innovative one, all should be assigned to your startup. Means all the profit, benefit, all the things which came from that production, that credit should go to your startup. So that is the assigned policy should be there. And then evaluate your core asset and decide on type of IP protection you need. Means for all things you don't need to have protect, but few things which are innovative one, you have to evaluate your product. For few things you have to create some innovativeness in that to protect your need. Suppose that there is a pen, there is no need to protect the length, no need to protect this nib, no need to protect this design, but you have to protect the formula of the gel used. That is more important at this time. So that you have to study the core assets that can give that can be registered, no one can stolen by you. That should be given priority. Make sure you have a great name. Since as you are making a product in your startup, it should be have a great name. You should keep sure in your mind. Then patent strategy should be cost effective, not available. That should be cost effective and not avoided. Means we have to do the patent at that first. We have to register that patent. Thirdly, you have to take care of the open source software. Means if you are producing some software product, marketizing it, and you are having copyright with that, don't make all this software open to all to use, because it's non-commercialized one, for the not beneficial one. So if you study some software, they give just a few things about that, and they avoid many premier things about that, and they said that if you pay something, then we will unlock this software for using the next higher version of that. So take care using the open software, and for the beneficial of that, you should introduce your software, but you should avoid some, there should be locking for using their software for you having commercial benefit of you. And be careful in hiring new employees. If in your startup, if you are hiring new employees, then be careful about that. What is the theme of that, what they are having in our mind, in their mind, how they will be attached with our firm or startup, they may be faithful or not. You don't believe at first on that. If someone is faithfully working with you, then you can disclose your ideas with him or her. That is the, be careful about the hiring new employee. Now let us see 5 common pitfalls. What are the obstacles? One, open source issue, that open source components are free but under certain condition. That is the first issue. Just explain at that. Trade secrets, don't explain all these trade secret disclosure to the public. If you disclose all these things, they will go ahead in that, those who are leading in that field. So that is the second. Thirdly, managing the monitoring the IP assets. We have to manage our IP and assets so that no one can use without your permission, and no one can file the infringement case or abuse the startup. Next, IP risk allocation exercise. In early stages of our startup, we have to take care of secure our IPs for the risk allocation exercise. To acquire IP rights, we have to first file the application in the IP office so that we can get registered. Timing IP strategy means if you are only thinking your product, commercializing the product in the startup, if it is time being one, it is consuming so many time, then it is not useful one. If you have innovative idea, new idea in your mind, if you want to commercialize it, then without wasting that time, you just register that IP and use that innovative idea for your startup without consuming more time on that. Because everyone is thinking for that product for the market, they will introduce a new product more effective than you. So that is the time consuming is not best one for the startup. Let us see one example of China torch. Before 20 years ago, it was in the market. Torch is the main aim is to illuminate someone. It having the same with compass, with folding, with charging, and with a lace for the hanging. So all these things are given by that China product within 20 rupees. They have marketed. So that you without wasting more time for thinking, if it is innovative one, you should marketize it in the form of the product. Now let us see, find to the Samsung in the article. Means if you are some copying for others, or someone is copying your product for their commercialization, it losses financially for you and for him without any kind permission. At that time, infringement occurs. The same thing was happened in international court when Samsung company have fined $1 billion because Apple have filed the suit the case on that by using the crucial features of that Apple phone. So using others technology without kind permission, or someone is using your technology, your idea, innovative idea without your permission, it causes a illegal action, and so that we have to avoid it. This is the example. Now, a key consideration for the investors. What are the key considerations? IP rights are economic assets. Means not IP is the just certificate, but it is helpful for our asset as an asset. Unfortunately, some startup or some business is failure. Then he unable or he can't sell his physical property, machinery or plot or MIDC plot. But he can assign IP certificate for covering the financial crisis. So it is the economic asset. And it's needed to build the IP strategy in early stage. Means if you are something late for using registering your IP product in your startup, then someone can introduce a new product on your idea. So that it should be better to register your IP. We have to manage IP at your level in early stage, and it will also enable to force their IP asset for the growth. For the growth of any startup, for the growth of any business, if you have your intellectual property with you registered, that gives a reputation, and it will enable to force their IP assets for the growth. It becomes a helpful factor, useful factor for the growth of the startup. Now, what is the importance of safeguarding the IP? If we have intellectual property, we have not registered in early stage. If we do late, that becomes a problem with the startup. Anyone can produce that product. So it's a safeguarding the IP. We have to manage the IP as much as earlier in the beginning of our phase. We have to develop our IP strategy so that it must be identify the asset, align their values and company's commercial goals. Means if you have IP with you, it can assist to form your company's turnover, to decide your company's turnover. Means it assets. Also, intellectual property gains knowledge about the different intellectual property rights and infringement. So we have to collect the knowledge of the other products which is in market, and we have to make improve on that. So it is the gaining of the knowledge, and also it gives a protect, enforce and manage our assets. We have to manage our intellectual property in that case. Then what are the IP strategy, risk of the development in the IP strategy? What are the risks? We have to minimize the risk by business looking to avoid court cases. Means if we do the startup if you are starting in a startup, if we have IPs with us, then to avoid the in future court cases, we have to decide IP management policy with our firm, with our ventures, with our clients and with our employees. It should be done in early stage. And cost reduction effectiveness while cutting unnecessary costs. Means to have a famous public product, to reach the product in the market, don't give a high costing to that. It should have the minimum cost reduction effective, gives the effectiveness. If you are introducing an innovative product, but it is having so much cost, then no one can purchase, or there is no such ventures for that to purchase of that. So that cost reduction should be effectiveness, and it's depend upon IP. Means it's clear that if you have invented one IP, intellectual property, it is having cost effective, is so much costly for that, you would naturally try to recover your amount, but it should be for a long period. If you want to recover that in short period, it gives high cost to that product, and no one can come ahead to start that purchase. So that you have to recover your cost of R&D, but in the long duration. Now, value approach. To profit the direct use of intellectual property, there should be a leverage this strategy. We have to use this policy. And tactical approach, it involves shifting focus of R&D activities as per customers and relevant properties. Means for your R&D section, what the commercial, what the market is demanding, which product is demanding, you have to start up on that. We have to do marketization of that, and so that it is useful for customers and relevant for the growth of your startup. Now, lastly, the implement of strategy policy for better decision making. If you have IP strategy with us to implement clearly your asset value and achieve desired outcome, means any startup or any organization, any firm, it should be have properly outcome, defined outcome for that turnover, for that or anything. So we have to implement our IPR policy. We have to manage our intellectual property so that it gives desired outcome. Means you are managing your IP policy, but it is violating or it is not up to the desired outcome. That is not a useful one. IPR studies should assist the implementation such that it support to our aim, to our target, to our turnover, and generating the retaining profit from the intellectual property requires careful deliberation and discussion with the creators of the asset and business leaders. If you are starting to produce a product, we should have some prices of that. We should discuss with the beneficiaries what price should have, what the innovations it should have, what it should recover our R&D investment or not. It should be taken into care while we are managing your IP management in your startups. Let us compare these two. What is the risk of poor IP management? What are benefits from the good IP management? Basically, this webinar is IP management for our startup. So let us compare these two one, and we will stop after that. Opportunity of cost high, failure to fully exploit asset. Means if there is a poor IP management, they have the opportunity of high cost and may cause the failure of that startup. On the opposite side, increase visibility and clarity of the commercial potential. If we are knowing that the commercial potential of that product, we can IP manage such that it gives long-term benefit to us. So it is the basic profit of the good IP management. Now, slower time to market. If there is no IP management, if you are not doing intellectual property management in the form of publicity, in the form of advertisement, in the public form of website, or in any type of, that gives slower time to the market. To have your product in the market to be published within short time, we have to use your IP policy for that. We have to IP manage for that. And if you manage the IP intellectual property properly, then it gives a faster time to market. Means it quickly launches in the market because public is knowing, the market is knowing your innovativeness in that. Now, high risk of human errors. Higher risk of human errors if there is no IP properly managed. Why human error? Because if you are not managing that IP, not registered that IP, someone can, your employer can stolen that idea. That is the human risk may come. And lower risk of human error if their IP is properly managed and registered on the name of the startup or firm. Inability to scale means if you are not properly manage your IP intellectual property, then it is unable to got your achievement in proper time. But if you properly manage your intellectual property assets, if we have, then it can handle more assets, greater scope for your product, and successfully to run the startup in future. And last point, errors in the royalty payment results in loss of venture and loss of partners. Means you have no IP managed, you have no did such agreements with that, you have no written any about the royalty payments. If you are expecting from that, if you have no IP rights, then no one can give. There is no bind to return to you if there is not IP properly managed. But on the opposite side, if you manage your intellectual property for your startup accurately, timely, the royalty payment attracts the best content partners and drive growth of your startup. So that is the from my side. Thank you to all of you. I think I have did some aspect, try to give some explanation about the IP management and the startup. So if you have any questions, want to discuss, you can discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, if you have any query, any question, you can ask to respected sir.
नमस्ते सर, आदरणीय बेटकर सर, नमस्कार।
नमस्ते नमस्ते जलील जी, बोलिए सर। जी बोलिए सर।
रूबा मैडम आवाज आ रही है?
जी जी जी
जी, यस सर।
बड़े विद्वान हैं और अगर अगला मेडल मिलेगा तो शायद दुनिया के अंदर सबसे अधिक श्रोताओं और वक्ताओं को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाने वाले ये पहले विद्वान होंगे। दूसरा मेरा एक सवाल है कि जो प्रकाशक के द्वारा संपादक ने कोई पुस्तक छपवाई है तो उसका जो कवर पेज होता है डिजाइन क्या हुआ वो संपादक देता है।
जी सर बोलिए।
क्लेम किसके ऊपर आएगा?
जलवीर सिंह जी, आपका क्वेश्चन बहुत सही है। जो कॉपीराइट के माध्यम से काम करते हैं, ये नहीं हमारा सॉफ्टवेयर है, बुक है या कोई, तो क्या होता है सर, जब बुक पब्लिश होती है उसके पूरे राइट्स सी के अंदर बोले तो कॉपीराइट के अंदर एक तो ऑथर या कोई फर्म ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या जिसको उसने अथॉरिटी दी वाली है उसके मिसेज के भी नाम पे वो कॉपीराइट जाता है। तो कॉपीराइट हर एस्पेक्ट का, उसके कवर पेज का, उसके डिजाइन का, उसके अंदर के मैटर का और लास्ट के पेज का, मीन्स ऑल मैटर्स विच इज पब्लिश अंडर दैट हेड, इट गोज टू दी दैट प्रॉपर वेयर इट इज। जिनको उन्हें कॉपीराइट का अधिकार दिया है वो खुद लेखक हो सकता है या उनकी मिसेस हो सकती है या कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो सकता है या कोई फर्म हो सकती है, तो उनको जाता है सर स्टार्टिंग से बोल तो उसके कवर पेज, डिजाइन, उसका पिक्चर या कोई भी अंदर का जो लिखे वाला मैटर है वो पूरा कॉपीराइट उनको जाता है। और जो बुक का कवर आता है उसका जो चित्र रहता है वो कौन दिए वाला है उसका भी उन्होंने नॉमिनेट करते हैं, एक्नॉलेजमेंट करते हैं सर। जी सर।
Sir, may I ask one question regarding the plagiarism?
Yes madam, yes madam.
Sir, actually you have also expertise in research. So whenever we write research paper, we cite the name of the person. We have to cite, right?
Yes.
So still if we cite the name of the person or their article, etc., still the software is showing plagiarism. So what should we do?
Just if there is plagiarism, but there is no any provision in the software to reduce that plagiarism if we produce certificate. So first of all, which is available on the net or on internet, and it is same observed in some research, then it's detected by the software. Software not knowing is that it is given permitted or not. For educational purpose, it is for some extent it is useful one. If someone is doing commercialization of that, then we have to take permission of that. But for software, if you're searching that you have taken permission or not, it use total copied matter on that. So to avoid the plagiarism for that, we just read that article, we just introduce our opinion on that, and we have to explain that same thing which is more effectively through that area. Then and then only we can avoid the plagiarism for that. And if you are using same content, same figure, same chat, you have to acknowledge for that also.
So, sir, as a faculty of commerce and management or social science, any or humanities, what the people are doing, what I am doing, we are just reading the things and we are trying to present the same thing in other words, but we are not giving any innovative or creative idea through our research paper, through our research article, etc. So, is it also plagiarism?
If you are someone is using the same idea, same content, plagiarism is just copying that material, the plagiarism. But innovative, when innovativeness comes, then it is the unique one, and it is unique one if there is innovativeness. And it's clear that if someone is using the same idea, same working on the same theme, then it is possibly to have the same repetition by changing some name of that few things changed. But teacher should think innovatively, and there are so many academicians, those do the research innovatively, they publish their work, and which is also in the renowned journals also published. But in normally, if someone want to do some work for the academic benefit of that, if we do some more effort on that, then it gives the innovativeness. Otherwise it should be mostly plagiarize the work, it is observed.
Thank you so much, sir. Dear
Sir, can I ask a query, please? Sir, can I ask a query, please?
Yes, madam. Yes.
So during this, like if we say want to come with some innovative ideas and we pen it down on paper, so then there are politics happening that it is your idea, but somebody else goes and exposes them up. So it sometimes becomes very difficult to deal with this politics.
So those who are in
And that sometimes also creates constant fears that what will happen if my idea is stolen, what will happen if that is stolen, what will happen if this is stolen.
So the
Because in competition, anybody can go up to any extent. Even that kind of mindset people also we have seen in corporate life.
suppose if you want to search a letter pen on the internet in IP, especially in IP section, then it use a pen included in the title more than 2 lakhs. 2 लाखापेक्षाही जास्त 2 लाख से भी ज्यादा वर्ड पेन ये शब्द के ऊपर इंटरनेट पे अवेलेबल है, जो कि पेन वो अपनी टॉर्च पेन होगी या लिखने की पेन होगी, वो कोई बात नहीं, मगर पेन वर्ड है. So if you want to produce pen innovatively, then you have to search that literature which is available and most popular in the market. If you are able to introduce some innovative in that, then and then only it use a new product, and you have to no worry about your product copying to that. If someone is found the same idea, same thing, same design you are someone is using, if you have registered on your name, then you get the legal right to put a court case on that. If you are not registered, it is useless one. If we can't do any legal action for that, so it's must to design a product, to register a product on our name, and if found someone is using that idea, then you can go legally to the court. And these IP rights are territorial rights. For your information, only copyright is the universal right. हमने बुक भारत में लिखी है और भारत अमेरिका में वो बिक्री हो रही, तो उसका हमें राइट मिलता है, इट इज द बियॉन्ड इच यूनिवर्सल राइट. बट अदर राइट्स आर टेरिटोरियल राइट्स. आपका कोई प्रोडक्ट है, आपने बनाया है, वो भारत में बेच रहा है, मगर कोई पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश या श्रीलंका में वही प्रोडक्ट सेम डुप्लीकेट करके बेच रहा है या प्रोडक्ट कर रहा है, आपको उसको कुछ नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि आपने वो लीगल राइट इंडिया के हद तक के लिया है. So for filing the patents, you have to use universal rights like that PCT filing, means which can file the patent in more countries other than India, where you want to enjoy that rights of that intellectual property. Thank you.
So I think Suresh Bhai has raised his hand. Suresh Bhai Patel, sir, you can ask your question.
जी सर, बोलिए सर, बोलिए सर,
I
बोलिए
think Suresh Bhai ji.
जी, बोलिए सर, बोलिए, बोलिए. You unmute yourself. No.
Okay, I think sir mistakenly he has raised. Okay. So I think there is no more question. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable guidance on various forms of intellectual property rights, the difficulties, how to deal with IPR, how to manage IP in regards of startup, the pitfalls, etc. Very simple and lucid language with the help of very simple examples which we are feeling, which we are dealing in our day-to-day life. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Professor Lalitji Bhatti, sir, to propose the vote of thanks for this webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. So, dear participant, respected resource person, and all dear delegates, I am once again with you to propose my vote of thanks. So, always the kind words of thank you and a smiling face give happiness to each and everybody. So, I can't express my gratitude, whatever knowledge you have rendered, but still, as I said, kind words are always effective. So I am very thankful to our respected and dear resource person, Dr. M. BETKAR sir, for rendering, for giving your valuable knowledge, sharing your valuable ideas, and creating difference in the life of all the audience. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time and ideas. After that, I express my humble gratitude towards all organizers of IPR workshop. That is, first of all, our source of inspiration, our president, Mr. Dilip Rajji Goenka, Dr. Charushila Rumale ma'am, our principal ma'am, Dr. A.B. Pandey sir, vice principal, Shri Ram Bhayati, our librarian, Dr. Rupa Gupta ma'am, coordinator of Institution Innovation Council, all dear participants, respected delegates, teachers, and dear students, and our technical team. Thank you all for putting your work sincerely so that all can be beneficial. Thank you all. Have a great day. Please fill the feedback link so that you can get your certificate. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you from me side also. Sunu sir, Jalil sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you to all.
Yeah, once again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.